in the corner of the room that were not the shapes of cattle, and were unseen by Connor, Jankin, and Claffey. Only Pybus, who because of his youth had fewer skins, shifted his feet like a restless horse, and lifted his nose at the whiff of an alien smell. "What's there?" he said. But it was nothing. Nothing. Only a shunt of Claffey's elbow as he jostled for space, only Connor breathing, only the mild champing of the white cow's jaw. The giant waited until the frown melted from the face of Pybus, till he crossed his arms easily upon his knees and pillowed his head upon them. Then he allowed his voice free play. It was light, resonant, not without the accent of education. He spoke to this effect. "Has it ever been your misfortune to be travelling alone, in one of the great forests of this world, to find yourself, as night comes down, many hours' journey from a Christian hearth? Have you found yourself, as the wind begins to rise, with no man or beast for company but your weary pack-animal, and no comfort in this mortal world but the crucifix beneath your shirt?"
"Which is it?"
Jankin's voice shook.
"'Tis the wild hunt,"
Connor said.
"He meets the dead on their nightly walk, led by a ghostly king on a ghostly horse."
"I will be feared," Jankin said.
"No doubt," said Claffey.
"I have heard it," Connor said, "but at that it's one of his best."
They finished debating the tale, and then the giant resumed, bringing them presently through the deep, rustling, lion-haunted forest to where they had not expected to be, to the edible house. From his audience there was a sigh of bliss. They knew edible, they knew house. It had seldom been their fortune to meet the two together. He mixed his tales like this, bliss and blood. The roof of gingerbread, then the slinking arrival of a wolf with a sweet tooth. The white-skinned, well-fleshed woman who turns to bone beneath a man's caress. The lake where gold pieces bob, that drowns all who fish for them. Merit gains no reward, or duty done. The lucky prosper, and any of us could be that. Jesu, he thought. There were days now when he felt weakness run like water through legs that were as high as another man's body. Sometimes his wrists trembled at the weight of his own hands. A man could be at the end of his invention. He could be told out. And those who have not eaten that day have sharp tempers and form a testy audience. Only last week he had asked, "Did you ever hear the story of St. Kevin and O'Toole's goose?" And a dozen voices had shouted, "Oh, not again!" A cow, intent on the fire, had almost stepped on his foot. To teach it a lesson, he stepped on its own.
"Mind my beast!"
Connor cried. The giant glanced to heaven, but his view was blocked by the roof. 40 years ago, Connor's grandad had thatched it, and now it was pickled and black from the fire. When it rained, and the rain ran through it, it trickled a dilute, sooty brown on the men's heads. Connor had no wife, nor was likely to get one. Nor Pybus, nor Claffey. Jankin, he slightly hoped, would be unable to breed. Changes were coming. He could see them in the fire and feel them in the whistling draught from every wall. His appetite was great, as befitted him. He could eat a granary, he could drink a barrel. But now that all Ireland is coming down to ruin together, how will giants thrive? He had made a living by going about and being a pleasant visitor, who fetched not just the gift of his giant presence, but also stories and songs. He had lived by obliging a farmer who wished a rooted tree lurched up, or a townman who wanted his house pushed down so he could build a better. Strength had been a little of it, height had been more, and many hearths had welcomed him as a prodigy, a conversationalist, an illustration from nature's book. Nature's book is little read now, and he thought this: I had better make a living in the obvious way. I will make a living from being tall. He turned to Claffey, who alone of them had a bit of sense. He said, "My mind's made up. It'll have to be Joe Vance." A day or two after, Joe Vance came up the mountain. He had a